Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of How To with the Caribbean Gaffer, powered by 13 Degrees North Rentals. In today's episode, I'm joined by Creative Director of KA Media, Amory Alleyne. Amory, it's so good to have you here today.
Thanks for having me, and I appreciate this opportunity.
Yes, Amory and I would have worked on a number of productions. Although Amory has KA Media, we believe in collaborations here at 13 Degrees North, and we believe in working with everybody in the industry. So we would have done Ross University shoots, we would have done Man Up Together, and other projects. So Amory, in today's episode, we'll be looking at setting up the camera for the Caribbean conditions. So they now get their camera fresh out the box and they're like, Mommy or Daddy, I'm so excited. Thank you for spending this $4,000. They can now go out there and record my friends' events. But they rush off, they have their kit lens, and Amory, they do not remember to set their camera up to achieve the perfect look or the best look possible for the conditions that we have here in the Caribbean. Now, from your experience, what advice would you give them, or how would you advise people to go about unboxing their camera and what to do before they even hit record?
All right. So how would I tell people to unbox their camera?
Yeah.
Take it out the box.
Remove the tape.
That's the first step. After you take it out the box, you'll turn it on, right? Seriously. Inside of your camera, cameras these days comes with auto calibration.
Right.
So once you get within the region, then you can auto calibrate your camera. In some cameras, there's stuff like the APR, which is the auto pixel noise reduction.
Right.
And this helps set the black point as well as reduce the noise that you could get within the camera.
All right, before you go on, when he says noise, we're not talking about sound noise on noise floor. We're talking about the grain that we will see within the black points of the shot or within the frame of the camera.
Correct. Each camera manufacturer manufactures their camera differently. So where you would find these settings, I can't say for one camera where it would be because it
will vary from camera to camera.
Yes.
But you're looking for the APR,
or some it will just be like a calibration option.
Correct.
When you're setting up your camera, you're looking at the things like the camera profiles, which one you would like to use. You're looking at the frames per second, whether that would be 24, 30. In Barbados, though, I find it funny that we are considered within the US region, but our power is close to like in Europe.
Right.
So then when you're setting your frame rate or your shutter speed, you have to consider that.
Right.
When you're shooting 24 frames per second, you will get a flicker within the lights.
Right.
Because of the
power cycles within Barbados. Now, just to explain, Barbados is a 110 volt, 50 hertz island. Probably one of the only 3 or 4 in the world. We have a very unique power system here. So when you're definitely setting up your shutter speed and shutter angles, you have to be cognizant of the fact that we are 50 cycles. So when you're setting your shutter speeds, it must be a multiple of 50. So 50, 100, 200. But when you get up into the 200 and above range, obviously that's a slower shutter speed. So you will get some flicker occurring and banding occurring. Unless you are looking for that type of effect, I would not suggest taking your camera shutter speed that high. What else should people be thinking about?
I would say look for a new lens.
Look for a new lens. Mommy and Daddy just spent $4,000. I know you're telling them to go back and tell Mommy and Daddy, hey, I need a new lens. The kit lens is not good enough.
It's not good enough for professionals. If you're just using it as a hobby, that's fine. You could get your shot with that.
So this being how to, how would you tell them to ask their parents to spend more money?
I would tell them to look for a job themselves, right? Take the same camera, come to 13 or come to KA Media, and it's to be a camera assistant or a camera operator.
Straight out of his mouth. Mommy and daddy, I need a new lens. Now, kit lenses versus prime lenses, as he's correctly saying, are different. You will see the difference once you start to really get into shooting. I personally would advise, just like we did with the episode with Stuart Hall, it is not necessarily going to get a new lens first. For me, it is getting the skills right.
Right.
Understanding framing, understanding composition, understanding the exposure triangles first with your kit lens.
All right.
And then we could progress forward. Right. And then my advice always too is a camera is a camera is a camera once you got good lights. So understanding good lighting, your kit lens could produce quality photos. They will not be the best looking photos out there. We can agree on that, right? We can agree on that. But get a job.
Yeah, I mean this field isn't the most reasonable field to be in.
No, it's not.
The equipment is expensive. But I do agree with you. In learning the camera, you're learning how to frame, you're learning your composition styles, you're learning your own style. And as you use the camera, then you would see the shots that you like or the shots that you prefer rather than the other ones that you might not want to do. So once you get the camera, it's all about practice. Get hours on your camera. They say 10,000 hours
gets you professional.
Yeah. So get the hours
and I don't know how I feel about that saying yet, because for me, life is a journey. It's all about learning. And I think I can live for more than 10,000 hours. and it's a continuous, so every day I wake up, I want to learn something new. I want to teach somebody something, right? So for me, it's all about learning and passing on that knowledge so that I am forced to gain new knowledge.
And that's why we're here.
In a nutshell, correct. That's why we're here, teaching you how to. But yes, so also added to that, what do you think about autofocus versus manual focus and setting that up within the camera as well? So let's say that they buy a new A7 that has the autofocus and tracking features.
Okay, when I first started, autofocus was a no-no. You did everything manual focus.
Right.
Because autofocus, you're allowing the camera to determine what you want in focus.
Right.
Whereas manual focus, you're controlling that yourself. So then, the camera has a mind of its own. Someone might pass and the camera then tends to focus on the person passing, but that might not be the subject that you want to focus on. But with today's technology, and if you don't have the budget to have a first AC, then you could use the autofocus that your camera has.
Or the tracking.
It depends on the
camera, the type of camera.
Right,
Because let's not. I don't want to confuse the viewers there. And not that we are advocating towards definitely using it, but technology, especially in the Sonys.
Yes.
It is proven that it has gotten better.
Yeah.
Right.
I do agree with you on that point. I think you should first learn how to use the tools, whether that be the focus, so how to manual focus. But in knowing how to use the tools or knowing the rules of production, then you would know why you want to break that rule.
Right.
So yeah, I think the knowledge of knowing these things are key at first.
Yeah, and I'm a big advocate in that. Know the rules and then break the rules. because it is a creative, at the end of the day, we work in a creative sector.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And doing things repeatedly doesn't necessarily set you apart from any other DP or any other director. for me, it's always having that level of creativity to be able to say, okay, yes, I know that this is the rule. Yes, I've seen this applied, blah, blah, but I think for me, I want to switch this up a little bit and get creative with it. And we as human beings have that ability to say, okay, I can push the boundary here. Instead of this shot looking this way, I'm going to do this. But within a reason, or being able to explain what you did, what you did. Now, inside of the camera, maybe we can also venture into camera profiles and looks. How would you explain that to the viewers?
Well, camera profiles, each manufacturer develops their own color science, and these profiles emulate these color sciences that the manufacturer produces. So they're log color profiles, which is a flatter or a less pleasing image to look at.
Right.
However, this gives the camera more dynamic range.
Right.
And gives the colorist in post more latitude in how to hold the image. Dynamic range is the measurement of stops the camera sees, and this is the brightest point and the darkest point.
Right.
So that's basically dynamic range in a nutshell.
And various cameras have various dynamic ranges. So you can get 8, 10, 12, a varying
14,
14, or you can get really high. And then for, as Amy mentioned, for the colorist, the more dynamic range the camera has, it makes it easier for people to color grade in post-production.
Correct. So each of these cameras would have, or majority of the cameras now have the log profile, and then there are also Rec 709 profiles, which is what we would see on the television.
Right.
So the television outputs a Rec 709 color, and that would be the standard of the camera.
Right.
When we get into looks, there are many different types of looks.
Right.
So there are display looks, which is what you use to monitor the signal. As I mentioned, the camera gives off like this. As I mentioned, the camera has a log profile, and I mentioned
which is flat. Right.
So you could use a display look to
see
reference,
to reference what that would look like after color is applied.
Correct.
Right.
So this helps the DP. It helps the Gaffer.
It helps the client. It helps the client.
But there are also looks like the technical look, which changes the color space that the camera is recording.
Right.
It doesn't change the color space the camera is working in. It changes how you view that color space. So whether it's HDR, SDR, as I mentioned, Rec 709,
right.
Stuff like that. There are also creative looks, which is what we would probably use on a shoot
if you already know that this is the look that or feel of what you're going for. Then you could just apply that one time as you're shooting.
Correct. So these are different types of looks, and it's basically just to change the color that you're seeing from the camera
and the style.
Simply put, just changing the color still that you're getting from the camera.
Right. And these are all things that I would recommend that you who know having a camera should experiment with. See what you like, what potentially works. Now, I would say this, however, is not every lux that your client will want. You as a DP or you as an owner of a camera might say, okay, like this particular style, but that is fine. You might be able to play that for your personal projects.
Right.
But when you have a client, you always have to remember that when you're setting up your camera, it is always best to do a neutral look. Unless you have a meeting with the client and they can already predetermine, okay, well, this is what I'm definitely going for. And you already know, okay, well, my camera has a setting that I can apply one time so you can see what it looks like. So that when you get into the actual production process, it takes time off then the post-production process.
I would also like to add that, as I mentioned, each camera manufacturer produces a different color science.
Color science, right?
And so one look will not work across all
the
cameras.
board.
You have to look for the specific look for the camera that you're using, because of the color science. So some manufacturers tend to have better skin tones than others and stuff like that. So just be mindful of that when you're looking for that.
And also that lenses can also affect the skin tones and the look of what you're seeing too as well. Amory, I want to thank you again for being here with us.
It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure's all mine too as well. As we here at 13 love having you around for sure. Now, if somebody wants to find you to work with you, how would they find you on social, or how would they find you in general?
Okay, find me in general.
You off one?
All right, so you can contact me via my social media. That would be on Instagram and Facebook at KA_media. You can also contact me via my website, kamediabb.com, or you can simply phone call me, 246-235-3039.
All right, and there you have it. That's how you find Amory. He's available for any projects that you need him for. Now, we are all things 13 Degrees North, 13 Degrees North Productions, 13 Degrees North Rentals. Follow us on Facebook and make sure to follow and subscribe to this YouTube channel where we show you and teach you how to. See you next episode.